Welcome back to another episode of Trailer Trash Talk's Hurricane League Fantasy Talk. It's October 20th. Your host is always Lil Stank, here with me, your fan favorite Blake. So Blake, let's start this off. I assume you listened to the podcast this morning that I put out, huh?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you have anything you would like to say in rebuttal to Justin? Because he had quite a lot to say to you.
I watched, well, I say watched, there were some video pictures in case y'all didn't notice. It wasn't all audio, which is very interesting. But, yeah, I listened to it. You might have to refresh me on a few things because it wasn't that memorable, if you understand. So,
By the way, sorry to cut you off. Justin dropped off some of this high-grade CBD yesterday when he's here, and it is magnificent. Just wanted to fill you in on that. So again,
I caught that in the video too.
Oh, I didn't know I mentioned it. Oh, yeah, I guess I did because I thought we were having video, and then there were technical difficulties, so I thought I cut that out. But
I was like, God, it's some good fucking CBD.
Oh, okay.
To quote.
But yeah, so again, he had a lot to say. The main thing, I believe, if I'm recalling correctly, was loser.
Yeah, he's been flying with that line. It doesn't really bother me much. I think he's on his high horse right now because he's got a 3-3 fluke record, you know, as I think you and Mitchell broke down the stats on that. Like, he shouldn't even be that high, but luckily enough he is. At the end of the season, it's not going to matter anyways. I mean, he claims seeing me in the shit bowl, but that's not going to happen. He should definitely be worried regardless of his record and, you know, Kmart Rain Man feeding him information, hyping his game. So 3-3 means nothing to me right now. Same as the standings absolutely mean nothing to you right now. You know, I mean, there's quite a few weeks ahead of us, and we can end up anywhere.
I don't want you putting words in my mouth now. I mean, the standings absolutely matter to a degree.
To a degree, yeah.
Now, should we put all of our faith in the standings? No, you don't put all of your faith in something you can't see and touch and feel. You know, that's just ignorant. But I understand what you're saying. There's a lot of time in front of us. Most of the teams, though, after 6 weeks, you have a pretty good sample size. Not all of the teams. There's some of the teams that just are much, much different talent-wise than what their record reflects.
This is true. I feel like my team's one of those examples, but
it could, I mean, I was definitely talking about the 1-5 and the 6-0 teams, but yeah, I mean, yours could, yeah, maybe yours too.
Okay. Yeah, sure. You know, I mean, once you get into that upper bracket, it doesn't matter if you have a 0.5 or 1.0 record. I mean, if you lose when it counts, then a loss is a loss. So that winning season absolutely means nothing. So
That's true. And I hate to sound like a broken record here, but we do remember who galloped into the postseason last year with the top record in the league, the number 1 seed. Do you remember who that was?
Oh, man. Yeah, same as this year. He couldn't stop fucking gloating about it. But, yeah, you know, which is why, you know, I predict him to choke again this year. So.
And if you will recall, I limped my way into the postseason. I made it in as the 4th seed at 7-6.
I know. I came out for championship. That's the shit I'm talking about, man.
And you know what? It's not like I was a surprise to be in the playoffs, because I had called that shit all year long.
Oh, you definitely did. Hey, at least you own your shit, you know, prior to when it comes out.
So I'm going to hit on that, because you've brought that up a few times. I take it irks you whenever some of the managers in this team will gloat at the time of winning. Why is that?
You know, I taunted a little earlier in this week, trying to poke at people. I was confident going into this game this week, for the most part, and nobody bit on it, man. You know, I threw the line, no bites, and then not only during the game, but it took until after the game for the shit talking to come out. Oh, I'm 6-0. Well, I mean, that's easier said afterwards. You know, he said, due to his management, if you will, which I don't know what he's managed this year. I've yet to figure that out.
He has put Derrick Henry in his starting lineup every game. Let's give him credit where credit is due.
But he hasn't changed anything. Mitchell, you haven't changed shit on your lineup, hardly.
And again, I like to play the devil's advocate. That apparently is good management on his part. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I'm saying?
No, this is true. This is true. But, I mean, you can't tout your management skills when you haven't had to do any managing yet.
I see where you're coming from with that. It's not like you have injuries to your major superstars or 7 players on bye in a week. You know, I understand what you're saying.
Yep. I still stand by what I said. You know, Mitchell didn't beat me. I beat myself. So you're welcome for that 6-0.
Now, again, to take up for Mitchell a little bit, he did predict on the show that he was going to win, and I ridiculed him some for it because I didn't see it happening. It was a big point total he had to overcome.
It was like 35 points at that prior to that game.
I thought it was a little more than that. Okay, yeah.
I had 44, and he was like 105-ish at that point going into it. But you know what? That was recorded late in the evening. You know, he had a little bit of confidence at the time. I mean, if that was earlier in the day, it would have been a whole different discussion. But I still stand by he didn't beat me. I mean, Derrick Henry is a beast. Nobody denies that. I mean, to come that deficit playing the Buffalo's defense, I mean, that was pretty impressive. But, you know, I struggled with a bunch of buys this week. He claims he struggled with a bunch of buys. Once again, no management there. All your buys were on your bench, and they never left your fucking bench. Mine were in my main lineup, my starters. So, you know, I went into the week with four buys, right? Kamara, Patterson, 49ers defense. And where I screwed up, this is where I screwed up. He claims, oh, you know, were you going to play Carr and all this? No. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, if I would have played some other alternate on my bench, I could have came out better. You know, we all have done that before. No. Realistically, it wasn't about swapping my quarterbacks because Justin Herbert gave me a shit game. No. I had a deficit with my running back all week, right? I had Damian Harris with New England, right? This is what bit me in the ass. I had been reading up all week. He had all these injuries. Man, I thought I was going to be ahead of the curve and drop him and pick up his partner on the team, you know, Brandon Bolden. Worst decision. Come to find out, had I kept Damian Harris, which, by the way, Brian has picked up now, he scored 20.8 points that game, and Brandon Bolden got me a whopping 1.2 points. I would not only had I kept Harris, I would have had a blowout week. I would have definitely burned Mitchell, and I would have had a best top scorer of the week in the league for the 3rd time this season. So, which I don't think Justin could say that at all this year, huh? I mean, where's his green highlights on Mitchell's projections?
He had 180 points one week.
But it's well, I'm not saying he didn't score high, but he still wasn't the top scorer those weeks. I mean, so.
I mean, I don't know that for sure. I haven't poured over that data, but
I checked over that data.
I trust you. Okay, that's fair.
You know, I don't see any green highlights over Justin's stats or point totals, so just keep that in mind. But, you know, had I kept Harris, I would have had a week total of 163.8 points, which would have been the highest in the league. So, for this week.
You would have had how many?
163.8 points. But I bit myself, and, you know, I took the risk and put Brandon Bolden in instead of keeping Damian Harris, and it failed on me. So, once again, Mitchell, you're welcome, buddy. So, a win's a win. Look, I give you that. Look, you're 6-0. but I wouldn't toot my own horn too much about it like he likes to do. You know. Another thing that they claim they hit a nerve. It wasn't that a loss. I look forward to seeing his weekly stats. Right. The stats, the projections, they're pretty cool. I like how they're laid out. Not until recently I realized he puts his weekly summary take on it at the bottom. And usually he starts with the rest of the league and ends with himself. Of course, this week he had to lead with his fucking self and his own team and start the shit talking, right? It was just complete bullshit. I couldn't even make it past the first 2 sentences before I'm like, I can't even read this anymore. So I did go back earlier today, and I did read over it, and I do give him some credit. He did give me some credit towards the end of it, and he has some better projections for me in the weeks coming, which I agree with. I did some research and looked into them myself, and I feel pretty confident going into the next few weeks.
I think if you reread that in the tone that Mitchell speaks with, that was some backhanded compliments he is handing out there at the end of that.
Oh, yeah?
Paragraph.
Is that how you picked it up?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, then even better when they do come true, so.
So let's talk about your team, your season you've had so far. You started out with a win, I believe, week 1, and then lost 3 in a row. Then you had what some would call a miracle week and put up 190 points and stole our game off of a career game from both Herbert and Andrews. And then you had this week where you did good, but just not good enough. So what do we make of your team? It's 2-4. Have you had some bad luck? Sure. Some things, let's not beat around the bush here, bro. You, like you said, I tend to agree with you. You fucked yourself this week. You fucked yourself by taking Damian Harris not only out of your lineup, but off of your team, gifting him to Brian. So I hope the dude breaks an ankle now. Not to sound like Justin. But, fuck, dude. I was shocked again when me and Mitchell were doing the show and I saw you had Bolden. I wasn't understanding it. I see your thought process now, but man, I think you were a little premature on that one.
I definitely have to agree with that. I beat myself, man. It's a terrible way, but I think I'm more angry with my decision than my loss to Mitchell. So.
Well, your decision caused you loss to Mitchell, so I don't think you can necessarily separate the two of those.
I think I'm more pissed off that I caused the outcome as opposed to him just beating me and me losing.
So what I'm hearing here ultimately is you're refusing to give Mitchell credit for the win this week.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, that's fair. I just wanted to. No, I feel you. Like
and if you notice his notes with a little sprinkle of luck, I mean, come on now. He hasn't had to do much all fucking season. Good draft. Congratulations.
I would pontificate if perhaps he had paid a visit to, the New England coaching staff the same way he did the Philly and Dallas coaching staffs to prevent your boy from getting any touches.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
I think Belichick is above reproach. I don't think that's going to fly with him,
Yeah.
But, we don't know. Again, did that happen?
Okay, according to you, he gives a mean handy, so.
Hey, I don't know. This is the most logical and reasonable explanation that I could think of,
it makes sense, man.
And if I recall, I didn't accuse him. I think it was more of a question. That's what you're supposed to do as...
I've yet to see any denial about it.
And I've yet to see any proof that it absolutely did not happen that way.
This is true.
So we have to wonder, did it?
We're waiting on it.
Is Mitchell a serial flater that wins his fantasy football games, by that means?
That's okay. I'll see Mitchell again week 13.
Oh, you've already looked it up.
Oh, I did. You know the irony?
Mark that shit up. What's up?
You know the irony in week 13? It's Derrick Henry's bye week. Looking forward to that game.
Which reminds me, I don't think we heard from Mitchell today, but Justin did offer him a $20 bet that Mitchell would lose on Derrick Henry's bye week. Makes it all the more just interesting now that you're playing him that week.
I forgot about, I did want to bring that up too. Is the side bets, man. We got quite a few going on in this league this season, huh?
Hopefully someone is going through the group chat and recording these things.
Well, I noticed the other day my group chat deletes after, so many messages. Because, there's days where there's a drought in the chat, and then there's days where...
Shit, is that true for everyone?
I don't know. It could be phone-based. It could be carrier-based. I don't know what the fuck. Or... using different platforms. I know some of us have the iPhones because they be liking this shit, and some of us are using Androids. So I don't know what the cause of it is. I tried to scroll up a few days ago, and
did you just say they be liking this shit?
Yeah, exactly. Back to these bets, though, right? What bets do you remember? So as of right now, I have a $20 wager.
I'll be honest with you, I don't remember what any of the bets were. I made a bet with Mitchell at the draft that Brian would not lose the shit bowl or would not be in the shit bowl, one of those two. Which I don't know why I made that bet. I guess I had more faith in Brian than I probably should have had since his year has started out less than stellar so far.
Justin had a $20 bet too, that he's gonna lose. Mitchell. Justin's bet. Mitchell will lose.
Well, we don't know if Mitchell has the testicular fortitude to accept that.
Oh, he definitely don't. That's why he does all his shit talking post game. Mitchell will. We're just, jotting this down for record keeping. Mitchell will lose Henry by week. And then I have a $20 bet with Mitchell that he will have a good winning season, but choke when it matters. And I'm still sticking to that. He seems to think he's just going to get some bonuses on his championship payout. But I don't see that happening. But there's quite a few other bets. I'm trying to remember them too. This is during the draft, so we need a little refresher on it. Jordan's good with those types of notes and remembering those types of things, so maybe he can give us some insight on that. Yeah. So, speaking of Brian, he's been a topic of discussion this year due to some trades. Y'all keep shutting down that trade between Jacobs and DJ Moore.
Well,
Jacobs.
Let's be careful with the phrase y'all were throwing out. These votes are anonymous. No one knows who the identity of these vetoers are. All right?
I think y'all have openly spoken out about it multiple times. So it's for sure Mitchell and Justin have voted against this because they have some vendetta against Brian. Justin, for sure, we understand why. We get it, man. But anyways, that was another thing. I was trying to plan ahead this week, in the midst of that trade trying to go on multiple times in the past few weeks. I proposed a trade to Brian, and that shit got shot down twice too. I was trying to look out for my missing running back position before I did the whole Bolden Harris bullshit that fucked me. I was trying to trade Brian, but y'all shot it down. So then I started wondering, is it a trade thing or is it a Brian thing? I'm really starting to think it's a Brian thing. So.
Well, I mean, as Mitchell and I discussed, it's always been difficult to trade in this league because Mitchell fucked it up for the rest of us in perpetuity, year 2 or 3, whenever he was, allegedly trading bags of dope for fantasy players. Now, we never had evidence of this occurring, but Nick was giving him like RB2 on the season for nothing, and it just seemed fishy because Nick hadn't been playing or winning, So, yeah, so we instituted a couple of rules.
I feel like the trade I proposed was a pretty fair offer there. I mean, I needed a running back. He needed a wide receiver. They were both comparable in point averages, and Godwin usually sits on my bench, so that's where it was at. I felt like it was a fair trade, and quote your words, there was no trade rapes going on or occurring in mine and Brian's trade. There could possibly be some trade rapes going on in Brian and Nick's trade, but hey, I mean, they're both game for it. Just why not let them both fucking have it?
What I will say is this. Brian is a shrewd operator. He was more than willing to quickly part with your boy from Arizona, who is in a timeshare, who doesn't get the touchdowns, who is injury prone, Chase Edmonds. James Conner is the one that gets the goal line work, scores the touchdowns, the one that's the more durable out of the two. So he was willing to part with him rather quickly on a 1-for-1 for arguably a top 10 receiver, I mean, Edmonds has potential, yeah. But Edmonds also has the potential to let you down mightily a lot of weeks.
Had I picked up Edmonds initially for this week, he would have got me 8 points, which would have also allowed me to win the game instead of that whopping 1.2 points Bolden got me. So, hit or miss, whatever. Yeah, I was just trying to achieve an objective this week, and it failed miserably, starting with the trade and then my fucked up waiver decisions. So
my assumption, if I'm going to try and get inside of the minds of these people that voted to veto that trade, my assumption would be that their train of thought was that you and Brian's trade backdoored a deal to allow Brian and Nick's trade, because you agreeing to the trade with Brian more or less fought off your veto from the previous trade. Ergo, Brian was going to get the better end of two trades. That would be my guess. Are
you insinuating collusion here?
No, I'm not insinuating. I'm trying to get inside of the minds of the people that cast those votes. They could be insinuating or even thinking that, but I'm just spitballing here.
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, I'm going to tell you, Brian, Nick, I did start accepting your vote after the 10th fucking time it was pushed through. I mean, at first it didn't make sense to me. I mean, but look, if y'all were for it, look, I'm for it. Whatever at this point, you know what I mean? So,
you believe in the Constitution.
Yeah, hey, I was under the thought if there's a will, there's a way. So you know what I said? You know what? I'll let them have it. So I did accept y'all's trade offer the last two times for sure. No coercion or collusion going on, or no side bets with that. Hey, if you allowed us to go through, none of that shit happened at all. That's not how that went down. But speaking of collusion, Mitchell says there was no collusion with the veto of my trade. Hey, I mean, that's what he says. Look, I have no choice but to believe you, man. I mean, that's what you say happened. That's what happened. He hasn't talked to Dustin in quite some time. Yada yada. Hey, I do have a question now.
Let me jump in first before you do that. I will say, we have seen time and time again in a real court of law, collusion is impossibly difficult to prove. So
this is true.
That is a high bar.
This is true.
Bar.
Yeah, it's true. I do have a question for Mitchell though. How was that air show Monday morning? Dustin, question for you. How was that air show Monday morning?
What are you talking about?
Oh, you didn't know both of their families enjoyed Family Day at the local air show Sunday? But he hadn't talked to the dude in quite some time. So, hey, I take your word for it. I mean, maybe y'all were both there simultaneously and just never realized they didn't see each other. Quite possible.
I've ran into you in town before. We've both been in the same place, not realized it until we saw each other.
Yeah, but exactly. But if we saw each other, I'm not saying hey man, we're going to have this secret meet and get together.
They were trying to avoid bugs, so they met in a public place.
No, they just happened to be there and be like, hey, while we're here, which happened to be very early, right before fucking kickoff, that this final veto vote went through. Coincidence?
I gotta be honest, I thought y'all's trade went through. I thought it was processing.
Oh, it was like fucking 5 minutes to going through.
I thought it was processing at like 1:26 on Saturday. And the
This
last...
is true. I might have my days wrong on that.
The last I looked, I thought it was like at that time or later, and it hadn't been vetoed. So I was like, I guess they're gonna go through. And it was later in the evening whenever my phone started blowing up.
So your phone started blowing up.
Yeah, because you and Brian were bitching in the group chat about.
Well, you know what? It wouldn't have mattered if y'all vetoed the trade or not. Godwin had already played, so the trade wouldn't have went through until after this week, anyways. But that initial,
so it wouldn't have helped you.
It wouldn't. No, I wouldn't have benefited from it at all. I mean, y'all are already late to it. But that first time, everything would have went through seamlessly, and I would have beat Mitchell.
Oh, y'all did it twice?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did it twice. Or it could have been floating for a while. Or no, because it should have went through earlier than that. I'm pretty sure.
That's what I'm saying. I thought it was supposed to process on Saturday. But you know what it was? You probably did propose it when it could have been Wednesday, but since Godwin played on Thursday, it wouldn't process until like Tuesday or Wednesday of the following week whenever those players had been unlocked.
Yeah. Yeah. So it wouldn't have mattered. Yeah. So,
Hold that thought.
So what's your thoughts on the rest of this play out? You know, the next few weeks coming.
Is this week's schedule?
No, this was the last week.
Oh,
okay. Y'all touched on a lot of it. I just did it for took some notes here just for quick reference how the week played out, who won what, and where their standings are.
I think I think it's going to be a lot of what you would expect. I mean, I'm going to continue to build momentum. Mitchell is going to finally stumble here, and you know what? I am going to predict it right now. We are going to see the upset of the season in week 8.
Is that so?
Yes, sir.
And what game would that be?
I believe you said that's when Jordan was playing Mitchell.
Is it?
I thought that's what you said.
Oh yeah, well, if I said that earlier, I just couldn't remember. So
I think Jordan's going
Mitchell,
to shock the world.
Yep, it's Nick and then Jordan in the next 2 weeks.
Jordan is going to come from behind, limping into that game with his sorry, battered, broken team, and Mitchell's going to underperform. Jordan's going to shock the world. If Nick doesn't get to Mitchell this week. I mean, Mitchell could very well be already have one loss heading into next week.
As I've told y'all before, I'm a realist. I think my prediction I think Mitchell's going to win the next 2 weeks, so he's going to have smooth sailing. Next 2 weeks versus Nick and Jordan. So that put him at 8-0. But then come week 9, I think he's going to lose to Dustin.
What do you and Mitchell have going on under the table there, huh?
Oh, there's nothing going on. I'm just looking at who they're playing and who's got buys. And Mitchell also has 2 buys the week that he plays Dustin. Up until then, you don't really have much going on. So I'll give him that. He's still going to have an awesome record this year, but it's not going to matter because once you get up into that upper bracket, man, you're going to choke when it matters.
I mean, just for the record, Mitchell already has as many or more wins through 6 weeks as he has had 5 of the previous 9 seasons we've played.
That's impressive. Impressive. For sure.
Then he has had total in those seasons. I don't know if I'll do the word total in there. Yeah, but I mean, Mitchell, yeah, I'm guessing he's probably favored. Odds are he's going to win this week, but look, fucking Derrick Henry's going to have a week where he doesn't put up fucking 35, 40 fucking points.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be week 13 when he plays me because Henry's on a bye. So, when we meet again, I'm definitely going to beat you.
I don't believe it's humanly possible for him to keep this pace for 17 games. I don't think it's going to happen.
The dude's a fucking beast.
He absolutely is a beast, but I don't know, dude. And like I said, I think Mitchell's team, again, this isn't necessarily a slight to Mitchell, but his team goes as Derrick Henry goes. And I don't know. I mean, if he were to be ruled out for a game, that would be quite a block for Mitchell to hurdle. Kyler Murray has cooled down from his fucking torrid start to the season.
By the way, they just picked up Zach Ertz, and
yeah, I mean,
we're gonna see how that contributes. Considering I just picked up Ertz off the waiver, so
we'll see. But I mean, I don't know
It'd be
how
a good,
quick you're gonna learn an entirely new offense.
that'd be cool. I mean, but
getting added in
he should be
mid-season.
decent enough to be a shoe-in for the week that Andrews goes on a bye for me. So
Maybe, or there could be much better options on the waiver line.
we'll see what happens when that time comes. You know, hey, I'm
If
thinking
you
10
think
steps
the
ahead
best
right now.
roster management is pocketing a tight end that may or may not even be playable for several weeks,
We'll see how it goes. He's there. Hey, I did do a smart move this week. I picked up Le'Veon Bell. Didn't play him.
What was the smart move?
Picking him up. Because, I mean, the guy's a star, man. He just happens to be on a practice squad. He actually had a decent week. Had I put him on my lineup, I would have won too. But I had no intentions of putting him on the lineup. I wanted to see how he'd do and how long they'd keep him on the starting lineup. And, of course, they put him back on the practice squad.
So you have faith in Le'Veon Bell is what you're saying?
No, I did. He's not on my lineup anymore. So you're more than welcome to pick him up when you need him in the next coming weeks.
I'm not doesn't.
You might need him.
I'll pick up fucking Jawan Howard. I don't know, dude. I mean, no, dude. I mean, that dude. It's been 4 years since his last productive season, and that was because of volume. If you look at him as a pure runner, it's been like his second or third to last year in Pittsburgh since he's actually been a good, like, between the tackles runner.
Yeah. So.
I don't know. I just Le'Veon Bell, I think, is done.
You know, so that's my predictions for Mitchell. Justin, buddy. Justin. You're on your high horse right now. You got quite a few lucky weeks. You think because you got a .5 average that you're just an unstoppable train right now. Look, your end's coming soon, buddy. And you predicted I'd be in the shit bowl. I'm not even going to be down there. I doubt I'll even be in the lower bracket. I have the team to back that up. You, on the other hand, man, it's going to go downhill quick, just like it did last season. My prediction, next 3 weeks versus Moss, versus Nick, you're going to lose. And last but not least, week 9, you know, when you have your Buccaneer coattail bye week team on week 9 playing me, you're definitely going to lose them too. So, and your management skills aren't that great, so good luck with that, buddy. I'll be happy to hand you that L, and we'll see who's calling who loser then.
That's very interesting. Out of curiosity, what is your record going to be on week 9?
Week 9.
You're 2-4 right now.
I'm 2-4 right now. You know, I plan on winning the next 3 weeks. So, I know it's high hopes, but realistically looking at it, I mean, I'm playing Jordan this upcoming week. Look, Nothing against Jordan. Really not. Look, it's just not looking probable for Jordan. Okay. Week 8, I'm playing Brian. Statistically speaking, Brian, I always kick your ass. So.
Statistically speaking.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then of course week 9, I'll be playing Justin, and he just don't have a chance. So. There's
because that is the week that he's without all of the Buccaneers, correct?
Absolutely. And his management skills aren't that great, so I doubt you can make up for that. You better start trying now. Maybe put some trades out there that we can veto down. See how quick your team turns on you, buddy. So we'll see.
That is high hopes. High hopes.
Yep.
So where, come week 15 at the start of the playoffs, where do you see your team?
Win-loss ratio, I don't know at that point. Definitely in the upper bracket. I do see myself in the upper bracket. Hopefully I'll get another chance to play Mitchell again. And then kick his ass. That'd be even sweeter if I can kick your ass on our own bet, beating you when it matters, which would be putting me in the upper bracket. That would be such a sweet victory.
That would be.
So, I mean, my prediction is going to be Mitchell, Dustin, myself, and according to your projections, you see yourself up in that upper bracket.
Absolutely. I mean, I didn't think that was actually a question. Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, it puts us 4 in the bracket. Where do you see that going from there?
Well, if I am being realistic, I think at this point I'm probably not going to win the division because Mitchell does have a 5-game lead on me. I'm not saying that would be impossible to make up. That's just improbable.
Yeah.
So at that point, it'll come down to record and points scored, and because I had a myriad of happenstances that were beyond my control in the first 5 weeks of this season, I'm probably going to go in again as a 4th seed, would be my guess. Probably be again Mitchell the 1 seed, Dusty the 2 seed, person 3, which in your mind is you, the 3rd seed, and then hey, I didn't exclude you. Come on, don't be a dick. And I would go in as the 4 seed, and once again, Mitchell would be making a first round exit.
You know, obviously, as of right now, once again, Jordan, no offense, that don't put Jordan, and of course Justin's gonna be in shit bowl again, as contenders. So those 2 are out. That leaves Nick and Brian. Where do you see them 2 at?
I think they have similar teams, honestly.
I know it can go either way any week, man. I think week 11, I have to double check. I may be playing Nick. Look, I don't know, for some reason, Nick always seems to be my kryptonite. I always fucking lose to him, whether I have a great team or not. So we'll see what happens on that. I need to check. He might have some buys going on, so that'd be my favorite.
I don't know. Brian seems to have a lot of things going on in his head that are clouding his vision. His management skills again have been subpar, and he's calling himself the Globo Gym Purple Cobras. Now, I'm old enough to remember this movie, and they were the best team until they lost. That in no way represents Brian's, grouping he has out there.
No,
right now.
that to me that more suits Mitchell.
You could be right. I think you are right. Mitchell should be the Globo Gym Purple Cobras.
I know, it'd be perfect for his team.
And actually, if we're looking at it through that frame, my team really aptly represents the, average Joe's squad that ends up winning it all in the end,
It is.
Humble beginnings, 0-5.
Great analogy got going on there.
Yeah, thank you for that, Brian. You just misused it horribly, but we appreciate the analogy.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Hey, I mean, look, we still have Dustin possibly coming up on his annual hiatus anyway, so
Well, I thought
He might not be in the upper bracket.
I
Who
thought he
knows?
may have been, but I'm assuming that he had to have cast a vote since it looks like somehow everyone did. I don't recall voting, but it looks like everyone cast a vote.
I mean, that's
somehow.
right now. You know, I mean, look, he's got a decent winning team right now. So, I mean, this is usually when his hiatus comes on. So, they could land him in the upper portion of the lower bracket. So, hey, anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Yeah. So, I mean,
you know what? I guess since we're on here, we'll go ahead and look at the matchups this week and make some projections.
yeah, let's do it.
It's only 10:25. I can actually make a decent time.
Absolutely.
I thought it was much later than that. The internet here is horrible. Service here is horrible. You might have better luck with your fancy T-Mobile.
T-Mobile.
Or Verizon. What do you got?
I got
Verizon. Alright, so, got me and Justin. Easy one to pick. Justin's going down. He's getting beat by a squad that's missing most of its regulars. No big deal. Then we've got Camara Shy and the Last Responders. Mitchell is projected to outscore this motherfucker by 16.5 points.
Yeah,
Mitchell has a 154-point projection this week. What the fuck? Derrick Henry's projected for 30 fucking points. What in the fuck?
Who do the Titans play?
The Chiefs.
Ah.
It's possible. I mean, it's certainly possible. Chiefs defense sucks.
Yeah, I know. Maybe that's why they have ESPN has him.
I'm not sure why they're projecting DK Metcalf for 15, except I guess that they're
That's
playing
another
the
thing. You know, I
Saints.
think Mitchell might be in a decline. You know, he's got Metcalf, and you know, we know Russell Wilson's out. Y'all touched on it a little bit too. He had a shit week with Geno Smith. So
What I will say about Mitchell's team, he has virtually zero depth. I mean, his bench is hot garbage.
well, he might have to start managing. So we'll see how great those managing skills are. So good luck, buddy. I predict him beating Nick this week.
Yeah.
Who else we got?
I was just looking at. Dude, I don't know. I mean, it's certainly possible that Nick would have a shot here.
Nick has a shot. I mean,
He has decent matchups. I'm not sure about his defensive pick, but he's got some pretty decent matchups here. Other than his third, fourth string Chicago running back, I'm not sure, but I guess he doesn't have a whole lot of running back options here now that I'm looking at it. And look, for the record, that wasn't because of me. I tried to get you a running back early. They fucking vetoed me on that one, Nick.
hey, I tried to accept the trade. They vetoed you on that shit.
Why? Oh, okay. So you said there was no collusion. Why were you trying to accept his trade then? Was that so that your own trade would go through? You're trying to buy his vote?
I just explained to you earlier why I accepted their trade after the 10th fucking time of pushing it through. I said, look, they're both game for it. If there's a will, there's a way.
That
Just
after
go
that
for it.
10th time is about the same time when you and Brian started to initiate a trade.
I was
though.
accepting their trade before I even considered a trade.
Interesting
There,
here.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we almost have
okay.
admission of collusion
Oh,
here if we
okay.
go back to the tape.
Brian. Absolutely no
Um,
collusion here.
We have Brian's about to go back into the loss column. He's playing Dusty this week. I gotta think Dusty's gonna pull that one out. His Patty Mahomes is going to be better than Brian's Matt Ryan. Think his Aaron Jones is probably going to outplay Josh Jacobs just because you might see, well, it's not Devontae Booker now, whoever the second stringer is there get, all of the touchdowns.
I'm going to have to give that one to Dustin, too.
Who is Mike Davis? M. Davis for Atlanta. I don't have a fucking clue who that even is. Mike Davis. Alright, I guess he's a serviceable back. Well, now that one should be interesting, but I think Dusty will come out on that one. And then lastly, we have This doesn't even seem fair. You and poor Jordan. You're projected out scoring by 20 points.
Sorry, Jordan.
Bro, but I mean, look at this dude's fucking bench. Look at all of his injured. That's his starter bye week. That could be a starter bye week. Bye week. Injury.
I know. I feel
That's
terrible for this
fucking
win, Jordan.
rough.
Sorry it's against you, but I need it.
Wow.
What about your game?
Oh, I already picked that one. Yeah, that's gonna be me over Justin.
Yeah?
Easy. That was a quick one.
Yeah. Isn't Justin projected to beat you, though?
I mean, he's projected to outscore me by 126 points, yeah, but that shows you why the projections don't matter.
Forget you ain't got a lineup going on.
Well, I mean, most of my lineup is bye, you know.
You have to manage that one.
I will figure something out. I don't know. Yeah, but I'm going to win that one. That's not going to be... I mean, even with no players in my lineup, I have a 4% chance of beating Justin. Like, that shows you what I'm going against. I mean, fuck.
That's great.
So, yeah, I mean...
Even ESPN has a sense of humor, so like, this guy's just fucking with him. So.
Yeah. Nah, but I think it'll be a fun week. So I'm thinking about cooking up a trade here, see if it'll go through. Help out me and another team tremendously, but
yeah.
I think in order to make that happen, I'm gonna have 3 trades simultaneously. So.
I don't think it works that way.
'Cause
when I go through my league activity, I scroll down the whole freaking list.
well,
okay?
but if I get 3 trades going. Oh no, that's only 4 people. I'd have to have 4 trades to guarantee. Wow. See, that's how tricky it is in this league. That's how tricky it is.
Y'all screwed yourselves, so.
No, Mitchell screwed ourselves. Mitchell and Nick and his negligence, and yeah. Don't put that on us.
I think y'all are just anti-Brian, so we'll see what happens if there's another trade proposed in this league that doesn't involve Brian.
Look, if I'm being honest, I was a little bit bitter because of the way my luck had gone the first 5 weeks, so any trade that didn't involve me, I was going to veto. And, I mean, I adopted that from Brian, to be fair. That was his MO for several years, probably still is. But, yeah. So, I mean, we'll see, but, I mean, I generally am not going to mess with trades. I mean, you all know me. I stay out of it.
Unless it's the veto.
But no. I mean, I don't give a shit who trades who. Not a big deal to me. I'm not worried. But yeah, I was a little bit bitter, so yeah, I was hitting that veto button a little bit.
I still think it's anti-Brian. So.
Nah, it's really not. It's anti all you motherfuckers, you know. Especially after you fucking put up that score on me. No, I'm gonna veto every fucking thing that comes across with your name on it. Yeah, but no, I mean, trades are certainly possible. I am genuinely curious how y'all got 4 votes to allow. I am very curious I mean, it obviously was you, Nick, and Brian. But I am kind of clueless.
Why would Nick vote for me?
Because of the massive collusion you all had going on. That's why Brian accepted your trade.
Bruh,
That's why.
The last time I saw Nick was at...
Nobody has seen Nick. Nick's irrelevant. You're dealing with Brian.
Last time I talked to him was the last time I seen him.
You're dealing with Brian. We know who you're dealing with.
I ain't dealing with Brian. No collusion.
Yep. Not buying that. So, you got anything else there on your notes?
No. Where do you see yourself by week 10?
Well, I've been asking everybody week 9, so I'll answer week 9. So going into week 6, I'm 1-5. I don't know what my next 3 games are, to be honest with you. I know I'm going to win this week, so that puts me at 2-5. The week after that, who have I not played yet this year?
Oh, I also have to note, look, week 8.
Oh, this is the one.
I mean, obviously, this week, most likely going to be Jordan, but next week Brian, right? He's also got 3 players on bye, which includes Jacobs, Brown, and Waller.
Well,
So,
Jacobs is garbage. So that doesn't matter. Who's Brown? What Brown does he have?
Mark Brown?
Who the fuck is Mark Brown? Oh, Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown. Yeah. Like I said, he's hit or miss too. Yeah, but so next week actually starts my revenge tour, where I'm going to go through and make up for the first 5 weeks that the karmic cosmic gods fucked me. So now I'm going to go and fuck them back.
Yeah. Well, dude, sounds like me and you going to be riding the same train, buddy.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be at the front of that bitch, so that's what's going on.
Technically, if we have a winning streak for the next 3 games, you're still going to be behind me, so.
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily true. I mean,
Statistically and speaking, that will be true.
I don't know.
You come from a 1-5 record.
You know what? You know what's pathetic? I didn't win for 5 weeks in a row, and here in week 6, I'm only 1 game behind your ass. So don't try and fucking showboat me, bro. Yeah, we're in the same situation.
No, the difference is I have a better team.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to strongly disagree with that one.
Yeah.
Strongly.
Hold on, let me pull up some statistics here. Just to reiterate my next statement. Josh, I don't think your team's ever had any record-breaking numbers at all this season. And you've also scored the lowest weekly total twice. So.
In a
Oh, and that's another thing.
season-long competition, why would a given week matter?
Well, we're just statistically speaking, in a total of 6 weeks, you've got to break any kind of threshold. I've done it multiple times, even though my record says 2-4.
And yet somehow I'm only 20 points behind you on the season. So what does that tell you about your other weeks?
That I've had the top scoring team twice this season. Which, bringing it to another point, Justin's yet to have that either. And doubt that he will this season either. Loser.
Oh, that was great. Alright, well, you can all suck my dick.